Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Backstage Spotlight. Today I'm with Rosa. Hello, Rosa.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Now, everybody listening, this girl has done so much in the industry from Wicked, Les Mis, We Will Rock You, Jesus Christ Superstar, Dirty Dancing. I feel like you've done it all.
I'm kind of in and out at the moment, so I could predominantly work as a singer now, taking a little sidestep from the musical theatre aspect of things. And so I'm here, there, everywhere, London, abroad, you name it. So yes, it's really cool. It's really cool.
So good. So, would you like to give us a bit of insight as to what your life looks like at the moment? What would be like your daily schedule?
Yeah, it literally changes from week to week, day to day. But yeah, it's mainly gigging at the moment. And yeah, I'll do stints abroad and then I'm mainly gigging in London. So in bars and on boats on the Thames and all sorts of things. So everything is kind of different. Every week is like a different week, and you'll have one week where you'll have five, six gigs in a row. The next week you might have a few and then do something else. Yeah, so it's definitely more of a flexible life,
Yeah.
but it's still very, it's a lot less stable. I mean, not that musical theatre is completely stable, obviously, but you're obviously going to be in a year contract or like an 18-month contract or something. Whereas working sort of just as a singer rather than in shows, it's all over the place, but there are pros as well as cons. I think to like either of those things, it's for me, I love the flexibility. I love doing something different all the time. It can be stressful as well because they're sort of like at the moment I'm learning three different versions of the same song, like for different things. So it
Yeah.
can be quite time consuming. But no, it's great and I love it. I always feel very lucky to sing for a living, full stop, to be honest. So
That's fantastic. Let's
yeah.
take it back to the beginning for you. When was that moment that you realized, oh, maybe performing could be my career?
Oh gosh, so probably like honestly, I remember singing at home when I was probably like 5 or 6. I think my parents both introduced me to music very young. My dad played guitar in a band. My mum always had me around music, and I just loved to sing from like literally toddler age. Um, Honestly, musical theatre was my first love, so I remember singing to musical theatre from probably like from like very young age, maybe like early teens, and singing all of that. Me and my friend used to sing like Wicked at school, like, and it's such a lovely full circle. But I remember when I was even younger, my mum and dad grew up in the 60s, so I would be constantly listening to their records and 60s and soul music and things. And I feel that's definitely influenced some of the things that I've ended up doing in terms of singing work. A lot of things I've done have kind of been on that soul side of things. Like the songs in Dirty Dancing are kind of very soulful, Soul Girl, Jesus Christ Superstar, and a lot of the gig work I do is kind of I do sing a lot of 60s actually. So it's sort of it all started really, really young. I think it's really interesting what people have listened to when they're really young and how it kind of you see it kind of influencing their voice type and what they end up singing.
It's really nice that you've got a bit of your parents as well in
Yeah,
your
yeah.
current work, which is really nice.
100%. Yeah.
So, if you didn't have that influence and if you didn't go into performing, what else did you enjoy and what would you think that you would have ended up doing?
I think I would have still ended up in theatre in some capacity. I think I would have probably ended up maybe doing costume or design or something like that.
You are a
Um,
creative soul.
Yeah, I think I actually I do love other things as well, but I definitely when I was younger, went for more that side of things. And I think I'm quite sort of impatient as a person. So I sort of like with things I didn't understand fully, I would just be like, oh, boring. Which is, you know what I mean, at school when you're just like, I can't focus on it. So things like sort of, I don't know, like, you know, geography, for example. I was like, I don't get it. So I just can't focus. Whereas something that I was passionate about, I was like, I'm in and I want to learn everything about it. Like I did like textiles A level and like, textiles and fashion design. for A level and drama, music, all of that stuff. Um, and I was kind of toying with the idea of like designing. I used to sort of like that aspect of it. I imagine I might have ended up potentially with something maybe towards the design part. I don't know, but I also just love I like people and sort of like encouraging people. So like I think something like agenting or working with kids, which I've done bits of as well, could have been something else. I'm actually starting a kids music thing this year, so that's
Oh,
another kind of route that I'm going down. So that's exciting because I love kind of working with young people as well.
yeah,
Um,
inspiring the next generation.
yeah, I really love it. And I also love those kind of younger people and people in the industry as well. I'm a massive fan of like encouraging people, and it's always like, especially like I remember when your self-confidence isn't there, and there's been points in my career when I was younger, it just takes that one person to be like, no, you're really good. You're really good. I believe I can see something in you and give you an opportunity. So if I ever see someone that I can like help, or you're like, oh, I'll mention you to this person, I always try and do that because I think that's it. Sometimes it is about, unfortunately, like who you know and who's just randomly seen you and luck. Of course, you've got to be good, but I do like that. I love talent. I really love talent.
Yeah, it's really special. And also being that person to give someone an opportunity and change
Yeah.
that brain chemistry for them, that's really rewarding.
I think it's really important. I think some people it works, like the tough love thing. For me, that never really worked. I think when you're encouraged and someone sees something and someone kind of helps you out, it is really great. Like I wouldn't have got some of the things I've been able to do without somewhat just one person out of the many people that didn't believe in me to just go, oh, I can see something. I'll give you that chance. Do you know what I mean? So except for an example, I auditioned for all the 3 year drama schools. I didn't get into any of them. Um, and I got into one school because I was really young at the time. And one person kind of thought, oh, I can see it, which then led me to my first job, which then led to this and that. And, there's been multiple times in my career where there's been an awful lot of people who haven't given me an opportunity. And then there's just that one person who sees something who might link you to something else. So I try if I can sort of suggest someone for something or see someone who's great or whatnot. Do you know what I mean? So it's that thing of like helping each other out and bigging people up. Like I'll always want to, if friends of mine are putting something out online, I'll try and share it now and again to like, yeah, just because you don't know who might be following you that can give them something. I'm about that. I
Yeah,
like doing that.
that's really lovely. I can tell you're such a good, positive, like mentor vibes I get from
Oh,
you.
good. Oh, that's nice to hear. That's great. Oh,
And
I love that.
along those lines, then, a lot of the viewers of this podcast are people who are reaching that age where they need to make a shift in their life, whether that's going to drama school or doing A
Yeah.
levels or making that decision. And for people who are in the boat of going to audition for drama schools,
hmm
what advice would you give them? And like think about how you were at that age and what you would have liked to hear from someone who's in it.
Do you know what? At that young age, I was very young, so I was 17 auditioning for the drama schools. I was like an August baby, so I was like, like the youngest in the year.
Yeah.
But honestly, at the time, like not getting into the 3 year, the big ones, like I was dreaming about going to that kind of school. In hindsight, it was actually such a blessing to not get that because I wouldn't have. So basically, I would say it's not the be all and end all, and it feels like the end of the world when you kind of have this vision of I'll go to drama school and then I'll get in here and la 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 la. There's so many different routes, and I think there's this whole perception of I have to do this by this age, and this is the route to go down. Um, and I was really lucky in the sense of I got into somewhere very young and then I managed to work straight away. But there's other people in my year. It's a year course, and it was like 18 to 35, I think. A whole mix, and it's amazing to see some of the people who didn't do those big jobs straight away, who were maybe the older end of the year, they're doing lead parts now. Um, they're doing big tours of West End stuff now. And I'm kind of like, what I'm trying to say is that there's like such, I know it sounds cheesy, but it's so, so true. Like, don't compare yourself to other people. That is just absolutely pointless. Your time will come in whatever way. Um, and I just think everyone's path is so different. And just for example, yeah, I'm thinking back to my year group. I mean, yeah, there's people now who are kind of really doing amazingly well. And this is like, I mean, I don't even want to say how long ago that was. I think it was 16 years ago. So I was turning 18 on that, now 35. So
Still a baby.
still young, still young in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of life. But yeah, I also think things have changed a little bit in the industry now, in a good way, I think. And I think it's a little bit more, there's a bit more variation in casting and being yourself and things. Um, and more opportunities for people, I think, who don't necessarily fit this really specific box or whatever. And I think the original, I'm going off on a real tangent here. The original question, um, don't panic with not getting into drama school or not in your head when you've got yourself this kind of direction you think you're supposed to like go in and it doesn't work out that way. Honestly, some of the most, and I don't, I know this sounds dramatic, but it's really, there's been some heartbreaking things where you don't get something or something doesn't work out and it is gutting and it feels like the end of the world and you like question your talent and like your ability, don't you? And then it's like, I hate to say it never ends in this industry. It just never ends, but you kind of and it still feels rubbish, but I think the more you go on, the more you realize when that thing didn't happen, something else comes up that you wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And even if that's not a performing thing, that could be something completely different. And then 5 years down the line, you're like, oh, that happened and that really built my character or made me, do you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but there's so many moments like that where I've been like, I'm absolutely gutted. That would have been a real big break or something. And then you go, or just things like you hear about something which you didn't get, which someone had a horrible time on. It's like it's having that every success is different for every single person as well.
Everything happens for a reason.
I think to a certain extent, it just everyone's path is different. I
Yeah.
think without sounding, and sometimes it's like the most amazing things will happen, and sometimes you won't get it like exactly how you thought it was going to happen. But then things come out of the blue, out of nowhere. You know, gone off on a real tangent there from the original question.
Oh, it's so good to get the insights. I really like it. So let's talk
Oh,
about auditions. When you get an audition through, what is your preparation process from getting the material to going into the room?
right. So I actually don't, I'm not auditioning for musical theatre at the moment anymore. So I'll go back to when I was, which was probably pretty much just after lockdown. I was still doing it.
So still,
Um,
still current.
yeah, I've made the move to not do musicals at the moment. Never say never in the future. We shall see. I feel really happy with what I've done. So I'm just life-wise, I've kind of had a real shift since sort of lockdown and a lot of stuff that went on there in kind of what I want to do. But I absolutely love musicals. And when I was auditioning, do you know what? It completely depends on the time that's available because I mean, I don't know. Again, it's different for everyone, I think, with this, but learning music, absolutely fine. Learning script, I find quite difficult. Um, so it takes me a long time to like learn stuff in terms of script. And so there would be auditions where they'd send, like three different scripts and things. And I think all you can do is your best. Like, and it's better to have this. I mean, I don't know if everyone would give this advice, but it's better to have the script there and not be just thinking about what on earth is coming next. And then
Yeah.
you're not acting. And that's, I think, if you can learn it, that if you can learn it off by heart, then that's amazing. Um, but yeah, my main thing would just be to like go through everything, learn it as best as I can, but then really think about what I'm doing.
Mm.
But I think don't beat yourself up about it because everyone's got other jobs and other things going on. Um, and I think there's a lot expected of people actually with auditioning. And I think when you've got sometimes you might not have an audition for ages and you've got real time to work on it and that's amazing, but there'll be weeks where you're doing like four different auditions or something for different things, different scripts, and it's just like it's really hard to like be as prepared as you want to be. So I think you've
And
got to
sometimes
literally
as
do the best
well,
you can. Don't beat yourself up.
turnaround time can be 24 hours
So
some.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember there was a point where sort of towards coming out of it again, I had a couple of little sort of breaks from the musical theatre thing. It was quite overwhelming, really. I always got really excited for, an audition coming through, but there were times where, yeah, as you say, it's like it would be such a quick turnaround, and you've got your like ring light, and you just like put the sort of lyrics, and you're kind of like subtly trying to look, and it would get to that because I was like, I haven't had time,
Yeah.
so like and it's just like absolute chaos and I think the more I started sort of gigging and doing my own thing um the more it was like it's too much trying to do all of this at the same time, and I feel like sometimes you've got to just put all your focus into one thing to really make it work.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense.
Do you have a favorite job that you've done, like where you've been on stage?
Yeah, I definitely, and it's probably not what you would think in terms of like the biggest one. I think one of my favorite, I'm thinking on stage. I think when we did Dirty Dancing at Piccadilly Theatre,
Mm.
and I love that theatre, the location. It was just that sense of like being in the West End and around that area. We had the best
Us.
time. I loved that. I loved the music in the show. It was really fun. Um, I also think when I did Jesus Christ Superstar, I did it twice. The first time was really special. Um, me and my best friend from childhood both ended up going into musicals, and that was the first musical we ever got cast in together.
Oh,
And so that was really special. That was a really special one at Regent's Park as well, which is my first time performing there.
wow,
So
yeah.
that was those two were definite highlights for me. And obviously there's like, there's other highlights, but just in terms of as a whole, I think,
All memories.
yeah, in terms of the experience, I think. And with Dirty Dancing, I just really loved that building and everyone who worked there, backstage and all of that stage door as well, it was just such a lovely environment. Just
So
really loved it. Loved the area, loved the kind of lifestyle of being that close to the center of it all. Yeah, I loved that job. And yeah, there's loads of jobs that I've loved. Like some of my favorite ever jobs are the really like random ones.
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
One other question. In terms of like mishaps and funny things that have happened on stage,
Oh yeah.
what is like the one that you always just think back on and you're like, oh, that was just something else.
Oh, I'll probably get in trouble for this.
You don't have to
I
answer it, you will get in
no,
trouble.
I will. Um, God, there has been honestly like without sounding unprofessional, there has been so many because it's live theatre.
Of
It's live
course.
theatre. I mean, it is how it is. I mean, there's been like technical things that have gone wrong.
Mm.
And there's been obviously just when people are doing the same thing on autopilot over and over again, and someone's mind just goes completely blank.
Mm.
Um, Wicked, there was quite a few of those. Because it's such a big production, so many people on. Like we had people sort of like falling over on stage by accident. Um, one I won't name it, but like there was one point in a scene, and it was like the mix of people in the scene. We were those sort of people, those people where you get in a show or even at college or whatever, and you're like, don't look at me because I'm gonna laugh. Like just
Yeah.
don't. And it's like there's just a glint in the eye. It was like the three of us were like that together. And it was like we literally were like, oh no, this is gonna be hard. And we were it was all fine. And then there was one point where the lead actress just, I don't know what happened, but it just sort of said gobbledygook instead of the line. It just was like a made up, I don't know what happened. I think it's just absolute tiredness, autopilot of the same thing every night. And I, it was really hard to keep it together. We kept it together, but that was one of the funniest things.
Oh,
I'm not gonna like name people
no,
just in
no,
case, but
no.
I think it's actually on YouTube. I think someone was filming and it's
Really?
super, yeah.
What do you
That
think
was hard
about that?
though. That was
About
hard. And there have been a couple of moments in that show because there's so much dialogue where your brain just, I did it for 3 years, and then there was one point where I was just sort of on stage and I was like, I don't know the line. And I'd done it like every single day. And I just was like, it was just a bigger pause than usual. Those kind of things.
yeah.
And it's such a complex show. There's always something that maybe goes slightly wrong. And there's something really funny when something's the same every day, even the slightest change, it just really like is so hard to keep it together. I
Yeah.
don't know how to explain it. It's like there was a lot of funny moments without putting anyone in it in that show particularly. I think you always make sure whatever happens, if there's any slight changes, the audience wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Um, and people are paying crazy money for all of these tickets. You don't ever want to disrespect the audience at all. But
Yeah.
there's so much in like, especially the big technical shows that could go wrong. I remember in We Will Rock You as well, like it was just like technical stuff sometimes goes wrong. So something might not work, and then you're kind of on stage. I mean, one of my favorite, another one which was like pantos as well.
Yeah.
Same. I remember, I remember like in panto, there was a bit where Aladdin had to like pick me up from. We ran through the audience, pick me up to put me on the stage, and he just missed, and I didn't get up onto the stage, and I was just in the front, like the front, just like. And we had to do the whole like next duet, and it was one of those where it was like it was so hard like not to laugh. Those are the best moments though. They like you don't get that in any other job. Just brilliant. There's so many people falling over like, and I think there's been things where like I've accidentally put like the props fallen into the audience and things. I had one where I had like pit pads in like my costume, and at one point in a scene it fell through my sleeve onto the floor,
No.
and it was white, and it just looked very very strange, just like a pad on the floor. Like the audience must be like, what the hell is that? I think at one point a hair extension fell out as well on the stage, and you just get on with it and hope that there's all of these things happen all the time, and you just kind of, it's like on with the show. And like I don't know if audience would even notice these sort of things, but it's like those moments actually are brilliant. It like, and I think sometimes the audience actually love when little bits go wrong because
Yeah.
it's
Live theatre, it's
like, oh
unique.
my God, did you hear? Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about people, audience members who do record? Because sometimes you'll be on stage and then you'll get home, see a video online and be like, brilliant.
Um, I don't I don't know. I think it's important to like experience in the moment,
Yeah.
because it's funny, like when you go to concert, I mean, I'll record bits, but like when people are like this the whole time on their phone, I don't know if it's like a generation thing as well, because now everything is phones. You
Yeah.
know, in musicals, I mean, it it doesn't massively, I can totally understand like people having a problem with it, and it's not great. There are times where it's like people will record it the first time you're going on for a massive cover or something, and you're like, oh God, I'd rather that not be all on the internet tomorrow or something.
Yeah.
And it's a
It's a
bit
pressure.
nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
On the other side of things, it's quite nice to have the footage. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
pros and cons, but I think it's rude. I don't think it's from a rude place. I think it's probably from a place of like,
They love
I
it.
mean, it depends. It's not great. It's not great. I don't think it's great. However, it depends on the intention. If it's like a musical theatre fan who wants to capture a moment of it, that's different from someone who's filming to rate the performance and slag you off. It,
Yeah.
but I don't think if the show is clearly saying no cameras and no filming, then don't do it,
Mm.
I guess.
And a lot of shows nowadays, because of the whole social media thing, that what it's come to in this modern
Yeah.
day, a lot of shows do have like finales that you're
Yeah,
allowed to
yeah,
do stuff like that. And I think
yeah.
it is also about theatre etiquette. If your phone's so bright,
Yes, I know. Yeah,
people
exactly.
around.
Yeah, if it's ruining the experience for someone else, I
Yeah,
totally get that. Um, I no, I do. I totally get that, and it can be very distracting if
yeah,
someone's like filming, and especially if you're on for something for the first time, or you're like a bit poorly that day, and you're like, oh God, like now there's someone filming, la 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 la. I do get that. I don't think necessarily in the people in the audience are intentionally trying to throw you off, but it can do. It can do. But then there is the odd time for covers where it's almost quite nice that someone's filmed a moment because you can't really film it. So
yeah.
there's I think on the whole it's probably not good, but mixed on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Oh gosh, okay. Where do I see myself? I would like to think, so I'm starting a kids business, music and drama thing. So I'd like to see that become established and I'd like to be successful in that. So I'd like to see myself as a successful business owner. I'd like to see myself being happy in whatever I'm doing. I think that is really important. And I think I'm going to go off on a tangent on that. But where do I see myself? Still singing, hopefully. Who knows? Maybe another musical will pop up. I'm not ruling it out. There's a couple of shows where I would jump to the chance of just being in the ensemble or whatever I could do in it. Um,
Oh, you haven't already done?
I've done my dream shows, which were Les Mis and Wicked. A show that is just so special to me is Parade.
Oh,
I I saw it in drama school with my class, and I saw it with my dad, and it's just a really the music is just it's just everything. I absolutely love it. Um, so I would there are shows, but on the whole, I've done what I wanted to do. I'm really happy and content, but never say never. But I would like to see myself still singing, happy, doing other things, and yeah, I don't know anything sort of specifically other than that. But whatever I'm doing, I just want to be still creative and happy in my life, really.
that's so lovely. We are getting pushed for time, so
No, that's fine.
I ask everybody the same question at the end, and it might be a bit of pressure because I haven't given you a heads up, but you basically have to nominate someone to come on next, and I'll reach out to them. So it could be someone you know, it
Oh
could
my
be someone
gosh.
you've worked with, they can be on stage, backstage, just part of the industry, or
Oh my gosh.
someone you're
Pressure.
setting up your business with, or something like that.
There there is so many people. I'm trying to think off the top of my head who I would you can cut this bit when I'm babbling on.
Don't worry about it.
Um, let me think. I think you should interview my friend Parissa Parry. She she's written her own musical,
Oh wow.
which got selected. She went to America with it, and I think she would be a really cool, interesting person to interview because she's got a lot of other things as well. She's done sort of like musicals and played a lead. Um, yeah, she's quite inspirational. I think that would be a really cool person for people to
Whole
hear
different side
about.
to it as well, the writing side.
Yeah, I'll send you her information. I think that would
Sure.
be a really cool person. There's so many people and so many friends that I would big up, but off the top of my head, because she has something kind of coming which would be really cool to like promote. I think maybe that would be a cool person.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 I think so. So I'll definitely reach out to her. So make sure you do so.
Amazing, amazing.
Thank you so much for chatting to me. Best
Oh, thank you.
business, you're gigging. I'm sure you'll see
Thank you.
everybody listening, go and check out all of her socials because she's just a light.
Oh, that's so sweet. And your reels, I think it's with your sister, are when I say hilarious, barely laughing, like I'm genuinely going to share as well because you had me in stitches.
Oh,
I
thank
feel like there's big things on the horizon for you as well.
thank
I
you.
do, honestly.
Hopefully, anyway, we'll see both of us
No,
in.
seriously, you got the comedy bones. You gotta get like use that 100%. So funny.
Oh, so sweet. Thank you so much. Take care, and
You
hopefully
too.
we'll be in touch soon.
Okay, nice to meet you.